We have always done this. So think about us, right? I'm not a sterling specimen of humanity, but, you know, I'm up here and you're down there, so, you know. How did a species that has no claws, no teeth, can't run fast, right? It takes 5 years before we can even walk around well by ourselves. How did we take over a planet? Because I'm going to premise for you that storytelling and the making of stories is really more important at the end of the day than any of that, because it's what we all natively do. And what the cognitive imperative is, and it's hardwired in all of us, is our need to constantly make sense out of the universe. We are constantly processing information, and we put it together in the noggin, and we say, okay, I'm going with that. That being, I'm in this dark room listening to this guy yak at me, right? You can't actually prove that's true. We could be characters in a video game, you know? We could be an outtake in someone else's movie. Who knows? But basically, you got enough information to say, yeah, no, but I'm going with that. That's pretty good. Story turns out to be the great neurological integrator. So if you put a human being in a PET scan machine in real time, and I present this human being with a bunch of facts, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, and I take the same information over here to this human being, and I say, let me tell you a story, and I do the same thing, and you watch the brains of those two human beings. The one over there looks like a pachinko machine. This piece lights up, and then this piece lights up, and then that piece lights up, and finally goes, ah, I get it. The one over here looks like this brain. It lights up in the middle, and it starts glowing, and it stays lit. So story turns out to be the food that your brain is most equipped to digest. 10 hours a day is a worldwide average of how much time people spend basically with some form of media. 10 hours a day. When are they working? Interesting. About 57% of that 10 hours a day is media time, you know, that is coming through a digital means, which means it's not a newspaper, it's not a magazine, it's not cable television, it's not radio, it's digitally delivered. Of that digital media time, roughly half of that is social media. We live in the age of broadband consciousness. It's not about the one that runs into the side of your phone or your computer, it's about the one that's been installed in your noggin. It will change the information, it will change the internet, it will change your phone, it will change your computer, but it's also going to change your brain. So we're looking at a different human being. No one can actually prove that it works. Businesses spend $8.3 billion because of FOMO, fear of missing out. I can't prove it works, but I got to be there. Because here's the new thing. In our world, we call it dynamic value optimization, which is, yes, I'm going to pick only the stories I like, but I'm only going to keep them if they mean something to me. And the minute they no longer mean something to me, I'm going to trade them in and get a new one. We live in the age of what we call the audience of me. That's not ego. And it's the same for all of you, and it's the same for everybody we know. The universe, the known and unknown universe, stretches out in all directions from moi and you, and I'm in the middle. No one thinks they have any time, which is really funny because number one, time is made up, and number two, there's still 24 hours in a day, just like there always has been. But nobody thinks they have any. So when you add the audience of me, I'm the center of the universe, remember, and I don't have any time, you get what we've coined as experience inflation. What do we do as storytellers? And you can also, by the way, insert teachers, educators, marketers, entertainers, everyone who tells stories. We talk louder and we talk faster. We buy more commercials and we hit you, harder in the face. Sale this weekend only, right? We do that. And all that does now is make the audience tired. It turns out, after all the work we've done with propaganda and marketing, that people turn out to believe their own experience instead of their lying eyes when they look at what we tell them. So you can't lie anymore. So it is fundamental to our dominance in the world and the way we create reality that we tell stories. So the place we've always told them is this place called the marketplace. Because brand turns out to be the bucket we carry our stories around in, out in that marketplace that we talked about. So if you put 3 marketing people in a room and say, hey, define brand, you'll get 26 answers and a fist fight. Because it's one of the most misunderstood words in the world. I'm going to stipulate that brand and experience are 2 sides of the same coin and they're made of the same metal, right? Or at least they better be. So in this world that we live in, you had better have an experience to take to that marketplace, or you're going to get lost. If you're old enough to know who Jerry Garcia is, good for you for being here. If you're not, there was this band called the Grateful... Never mind. Anyway, he was a band guy, and And he actually said this. He said, don't be the best at what you do, be the only one who does what you do. And these guys pulled off a miracle. They created a complete subculture built around a bunch of guys who were barely ever sober, couldn't tune their guitars or sing in the same key. And they're still a worldwide phenomenon, even though half of them are dead. That's brand. Somebody's got to feed this thing and nurture it and tell that story high, wide, and handsome every day.